First in Finchley. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm well, sir. What do you make of what you're hearing, particularly the Beto O'Rourke comment?
Well, I'd like to start with one of your comments, Tom, to Zalmi.
Yeah.
You suggested that if Netanyahu wins the election, then it's a possibility that Gaza might be driven into the sea. I think that's what you said, isn't it?
That's the fear that I was citing of some people, yeah.
Tom, that is absolute nonsense, for heaven's sake. Israel left Gaza in 2005. Yeah. They left greenhouses. They wanted Gaza to be successful. Unfortunately, Hamas has taken Gaza over, and they shoot rockets at Israeli civilians all the time. And, the idea that Israel wants to drive Gaza into the sea is a total and utter fiction.
That is the kind of fear that people have that I was putting to Zalmi.
Look,
I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. I tell you what I do know is that the idea of a two-state solution is off the table for now.
Let's talk about Beto O'Rourke, shall we, Tom? Okay, Beto O'Rourke's comments about racism should start with his own party, the Democrats in the United States. Let's take these two ladies who've been elected to Congress, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Ilhan Omar talked about allegiance to a foreign country. Is it okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country? She was referring to supporters of Israel in the United States. It was a nasty comment.
Yep.
Let's talk about Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib talked about forgetting which country they represent. The backers of a bill that would allow states to forego doing business with companies that boycott Israel have forgotten which country they represent. Again, evoking the myth of Jewish Jew loyalty. And both of these ladies, Tom, believe that there should be one state, that the Jewish state should be eliminated. And that, Tom, is anti-Semitic. So why doesn't Mr. Beto O'Rourke start at home with people in his own party, rather than making these nonsensical criticisms about Netanyahu? And I tell you, Tom, today in Israel, in the election, and let's remember, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, there will be thousands of Israeli Arabs who are voting for Netanyahu. And the idea that Netanyahu is a racist is absolute delusion and nonsense.
Do you have any concern, Jonathan, about some of the direction that Israel is going in? These comments about Israel is not a state of all its citizens. Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people and it alone.
Tom, you talked about that. This is the nation state law, which has been widely misinterpreted. The nation state law simply sets out that at the heart of Israel is its Jewish character, and that should remain so. And
Israel is the historic, this is what it says, Israel is the historic homeland of the Jewish people, and they have an exclusive right to national self-determination in it.
That is simply saying that Israel will always be a state founded on Judaism, and we know from the basic laws that Arabs have equality, non-Jewish citizens have equality in Israel, but the idea that Israel would become an Arab state is not on the cards. That is what it simply says. There's 57 Arab states in the United Nations and one Jewish state, Tom. Come on.
I understand that, but you know...
Well, you don't.
I completely understand that, but you know that law has been met with criticism by Israelis in Israel. The head of the Israel Democracy Institute described it as jingoistic, divisive, and an unnecessary embarrassment to Israel.
Well, fine, Israel has free speech. There are lots of people in Israel who are critical of the government. And today, Tom, they have the chance to vote. That person who you just described will be able to vote. No doubt he will not vote for Netanyahu, but this is democracy. There are plenty of people who are criticising the Conservative Party at the moment. And indeed, plenty of people are criticising Jeremy Cook. This is democracy. You name me another state, Tom, where in the Middle East where that kind of criticism is accepted. I went to a demonstration about Brunei on Sunday, and Brunei has now passed a law stoning gays to death.
Yeah, terrible.
And for heaven's sake, this is Jonathan, the only democracy in the Middle East. Let's celebrate it.
I do and have and will continue to. I see no problem in that. But that's not to say that if you think the direction under which a certain person is taking a country means that in order to make the argument for them, you compare it to some of the basket case countries that surround it.
I'm not comparing. I'm saying that this is a vibrant democracy. Today in the polls, millions of Israelis are going to, of all creeds and no creeds, of all religions and no religions, are going to go to the polls. And can I tell you, I believe there's 40 million election slips been printed in Israel, because there's one election slip for every single party. And there's likely to be 12 smaller parties. You know, you name me a country which is as democratic as Israel. In the United Kingdom at the moment, we have complete disillusion with the two-party system. But because we don't have proportional representation, it's very difficult for third parties. So do you think that there is...
sorry, Jonathan. Do you think that there is any reason to criticise Benjamin Netanyahu? Or is he beyond criticism? It sounds to me like you think he's completely beyond any criticism.
Well, I never said that, Tom, did I?
But that's what it sounds like.
Look, he's up for corruption charges.
Yeah.
It could be that he wins the election and then goes to prison. But again, that would be a celebration of a country with an independent Supreme Court, where somebody who's elected a prime minister and then 8 weeks later can be put in prison. Now, you know, what more tribute to a democratic country with an independent court would you want than that? So, of course, there's issues with Netanyahu. There's issues with every politician. There's issues with the Theresa May, for heaven's sake. You name me a political leader who's not issues with Angela Merkel.
I can't name you a politician, a leader of a country who doesn't have issues. But there is, of course, a big difference between issues and other issues, like being on corruption charges. But Jonathan, you're right. Ultimately, voters will make that decision. If they feel they can't vote for someone who's up on corruption charges, then he's not going to win. Thank you for your call. 0345 6060 9